Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome back to Silverstone for our final race of the day, the second race of the day for the Pro Time Motorsport Ginetta GT5 Challenge and G40 Cup. They put on a great show in our opening race back at the start of the day, and they're about to do likewise in race number 2. They'll start this one the way in which they finished the first one, and our first race was won by James Kellett ahead of Shane Stoney, with Scott McKenna third and Charlie Digby fourth, and that will be therefore the group of cars that we have at the front of the grid. There they are. So Kellett, Stoney, McKenna and Digby ahead of Conor O'Brien and Max Bird, then Conor Grady, Alex Toft-Jones, Will Dydal and Jerry Nicosia rounding out the top 10. I'll rattle through the grid because of course we've got 33 GT5 Challenge cars and then a whole host of 20-odd G40 Cup cars. So Sebastian Arenram next ahead of Carlito Morocco, Morgan Quinn, Matt Palmer and Katie Milner, who moved forward to 15th in race 1. Then it's Matt Maxted, Ashley Marshall, Gordon Much, Brett Ward and Adrian Campbell-Smith rounds out the top 20. Nick Halstead is next in line ahead of James Townsend and Matt Rainbow, who had a spin in race 1. Sami Saralainen and Gus Bowers in 25th, then Josh Hislop, Phil McGarty, Dale Albert, Charlie Martin, the Lady Racer, and Peter Digby in 30th. Tom Mallett, Richard Evans and Matt Conchos round out the 33-car grid in the GT5 Challenge. And what a sight they make as they rush down towards Copse Corner at the start of the race. Tom Golding won the G40 Cup in race 1, so he lines up 34th on the grid, but pole position in the G40 Cup ahead of Rob Keogh, Jack Oliphant, Tom Sibley and Paul Oliphant rounding out the top 5. Then Sean Fleming even, and Dmitry Sedashev rounding out the top 7 in the G40 Cup. Then it's Jimmy Thompson, Alistair Barkley, Jamie Hopkins, Gary Wager, Karim Sekat, Mike West, Paul Garstang, Ron Lynn, Guy Redwood, Ben Lowe, and then the back row grid, Andres Sinclair and Bill Forbes, although they had some dramas in race 1. We hope that they'll be able to get out there for this one. So there is the big story at the front of the field. Then James Kellett and Shane Stoney. Stoney started on pole position in race 1, led into turn 1, then Kellett got past him, then Stoney got back past him, and then Kellett got back ahead of him and won the race. So the lead changed hands a few times between the two of them. I would anticipate an equally close encounter this time around, and it will be interesting to see whether James Kellett can recreate the good start that we saw from Stoney from pole position in race 1. We made the point a few times today that pole position is on the outside line here at Silverstone, which on the face of it can seem a bit strange, but actually that's where the racing line is, and so the more rubber that's laid down on the circuit, the grippier it is, the easier it is to get away from the line. It's if you ever get the chance to go and do a track walk on maybe a Saturday evening of a race meeting, and you walk around the track, you can feel yourself sticking to the track as you walk on the racing line. Then you walk off the racing line, it feels like normal tarmac. That is the effect that the rubber that's been laid down has, and of course it has a profound effect on the racing tyres that are used, and they really do grip and gain traction really well as a result of the rubber that's laid down on the racing line. So the field making its way into position then. Shane Stoney on the inside there, James Kellett on pole position is on the outside line. And the revs are starting to rise as the second race of the weekend, round number 10 of the Pro Time Motorsport Ginetta GT5 Challenge and Ginetta G40 Cup is underway. And away we go on the rush down towards Copse Corner. Everyone in the GT5 Challenge contingent away cleanly, and Shane Stoney makes another good start, but this time from the inside of row 1 to take the lead away from James Kellett in towards Copse Corner. Charlie Digby I think has come through into third position. A few of them running wide there out of Copse. We'll have a short delay before the G40 Cup cars make their way off the grid, which they do now, right on cue. And it was Tom Golding and Robert Keogh at the front of the grid. Golding on the outside there, Keogh on the inside. I think Golding got the better run there, off the line, down towards Copse Corner. Yes, car number 19 chops across the nose of car number 35. Oh, drama for Conor Grady though in the GT5 Challenge. He's spunking out of Chapel, and that's a real shame for the man who was able to finish 7th in race 1 earlier on this morning. Bit of cement dust down there after some fluid was dropped in the late on in the GT race earlier on, but Conor Grady only now rejoins at the back of shot at the back of the field as well. Look at this, they're fanning out 4 and 5 abreast in towards Stowe Corner for the first time. Do they all get through safely? That's the big question though. Looks like they have done. The G40 Cup, identical cars of course, but just for slightly less experienced racers, running around towards, or a little bit further back after their delayed start. They're heading through that part of the circuit now. Stoney leads the way from Kellett second. way wide there goes, I think that was Conor O'Brien, and he loses a place as a result. Nearly loses two because Nicosia is on the inside, and he will lose two. Nicosia is going to go through. Max Bird is going to try and follow him through as well. And then it's Alex Toth-Jones, who was one of the real front runners at the start of the season. And Alex Toth-Jones, well, in the number 2 car, he's not really able to find a way through. It's certainly a new livery on that car for this weekend, possibly a new car altogether, which maybe would explain why he's a little bit off the pace that we would traditionally have expected from him. Nicosia back up the inside of O'Brien, and this time makes the move stick. So Nicosia moves ahead of Conor O'Brien, the number 22 car. Then it's Max Bird, then it's Alex Toth-Jones. The leading four just trying to take advantage of this, trying to build a bit of a gap. There's Katie Milner, the red car with the white, or the white car with the red front and the blue rear. And number 12 behind her is Morgan Quinn, the Irish driver. Those two a little bit detached from the rest of the field. They'll try and work together maybe to close in on the leaders, who are descending Bob Brooklands for the first time. And it is Stoney that leads the way. Kellett second, Digby there in third place, the white car with the green and yellow rear end. And he runs very wide in towards Luffield, takes the wide line into the corner. Nicosia still alongside O'Brien, who's clearly fought back at some point, got back through. So Nicosia biffs and barges his way back alongside into Luffield, still can't make move stick. So O'Brien will still be in 5th position for the time being. Then Nicosia and Sebastian Arenram, I can see, the blue and yellow Swedish flag liveried car, is closing in as well on this group. Nicosia once more, not deterred, for the 3rd or 4th time in less than a lap, is back up the inside into Copse Corner on Conor O'Brien. And this time he might have edged O'Brien wide enough that he's made the move stick, and possibly even allowed Max Bird to come back at him as well. Actually, Nicosia seemed slow on the exit corner, and so he's not able to make that one stick still. Leaders back out of Chapel though. Shane Stoney leading the way, Kellett in 2nd, 3rd place Digby, 4th is Scott McKenna, 5th for O'Brien, 6th Nicosia, 7th is Alex Toth-Jones, ahead of Max Bird now, who's down to 8th. And then the rest of the field filing in behind. Leaders down in towards Stowe, and Kellett, well, we saw this at the start of race 1. Stoney led the early going, then Kellett found a way through about 2 or 3 laps in. Is that going to be the same case in this one? He's close enough if he wanted to have a go down in towards Abbey and Vale, but he decided against it for the time being, and so Shane Stoney, that distinctively liveried car, is able to hang on in front. So out past the wing they go. It looks to me like Conor O'Brien is starting to close in on this group as well. He was 1.1 seconds off the back of the leading four at the start of the lap. I reckon that's come down by a couple of tenths so far, and if these four start really jostling for position, he may well be able to close in on them ever further. Through that very quick left-hander and hard on the brakes in towards Village. And no move made inside the leading quartet for the time being. Scott McKenna there in 4th position, finished 3rd in race 1. So he and Charlie Digby have swapped over positions from the start of the race. You can see there still the car of O'Brien is right with them now. So car number 22 about to make this a 5-car fight for the race lead, and then the more cars you've got in the group, the more chance there is that they'll start tripping over each other, and the more chance there is they'll hold each other up to the point that other cars are then able to close in as well. Oh, there goes Kellett up the inside, the first real attempt for the lead. It was a half look up the inside line there. Shane Stoney was able to carry the momentum through the turn, knowing that even if he ran wide through there, he'd still have the inside line for the next corner. For Jerry Nicosia, this has been a very frustrating start to the race for Jerry, because he's now dropped back behind Max Bird, although he does something about that coming through Luffield, edges Bird out into the gravel trap, and that will have showered the spectators stood at the side of the circuit there with gravel and dust, but he continued on his way, having lost only the 1 place. So leading 4 separated by less than a second as they cross the line, less than 2 tenths between Stoney and Kellett at the very front of the field. And in fact, O'Brien, only 1.3 off the lead. He sets the fastest lap actually, 226.462, and that is almost a second quicker. It's 8 tenths quicker than anyone else even could go that time. Scott McKenna being the other quickest car out there. A bit of contact there between Kellett and Stoney. They both ran very wide through Chapel, and that means that Charlie Digby now draws himself alongside. 2 wheels on the grass, then he runs over the cement dust, but he's alongside Kellett and he's gone through. So Charlie Digby goes second, and for the first time, it is not a Shane Stoney, James Kellett 1-2. There's a bit of bumping and boring there between O'Brien, McKenna and Kellett, and James Kellett finds himself right down into 4th position. So O'Brien gains 2 places out of that, and unfortunately, James Kellett loses 2, and he could yet lose a 3rd, because McKenna again draws himself alongside down in towards Vale. Nothing doing there, but Conor O'Brien really looks like the man on the move. He's into the back now of Charlie Digby, but that holds them both up, and so Kellett comes back at them. He'll retake third place, will he? Yeah, shows O'Brien the edge of the road, but Conor is coming back at him now. You can't really run side by side through Abbey without almost inevitable contact, and I think Kellett realised that, so O'Brien goes back in front into third, and Kellett has to do it all over again. So 5-car lead train. These 5 were 2 seconds clear of Alex Toth-Jones at the start of the lap. I'd be interested to see whether Alex has been able to close that gap at all. He's certainly pulling away from the group of cars behind. Oh, O'Brien with a real late lunge up the inside there, and there was always going to be a bit of paint traded between he and Charlie Digby. Digby on the outside line could lose 2 places here if he's not too careful. Oh, Kellett trying to join in the fun as well. Charlie Digby still on the outside line, but he might have a bit more momentum from that outside line down the Wellington straight. This is all playing beautifully into the hands of Shane Stoney, who's waving goodbye to the rest of the field. He was 2/10ths clear at the start of the lap. He's going to be over a second clear, I'd say, at the end of it. O'Brien just goes second, Digby third, Kellett there fourth, but with Digby trying to go around the outside of O'Brien, that leaves the door open maybe for Kellett to have a go at the inside line. No, they'll come out still single file, but yes, you can see that number 2, Alex Toth-Jones, that's not 2 seconds back anymore. He's less than a second behind this group, I'd say now, and he's bringing friends with him. Nicosia, Max Bird and Sebastian Arenram are not far behind. So, yeah, McKenna to Toth-Jones comes down by 1.3 seconds as O'Brien and Digby are side by side again through Copse Corner. And Digby runs right out over the marbles, and look at all of the rubber pickup that he'll just got stuck on his wheels, on his tyres, and that will give him a significant reduction in grip when he arrived down at Beckett's. Not that he can know it, because he still went in there side by side, fully committed. But he does now lose that third place to James Kellett and Scott McKenna with a real peach of a move there up the inside of Charlie Digby, and Digby getting roughed up a little bit now over the last few corners. He was running in second not long ago. He's now down to 5th with Alex Toth-Jones all over him as they head down the back straight. And Toth-Jones now sensing an opportunity to try and rekindle some of the lost form that he had right back at the start of the year when he was contending for race victories with Shane Stoney and James Kellett for the first few rounds. Rockingham, he was in the mix as well, and then it seems like from Truxton onwards things just haven't quite gone to plan. Down into the braking zone again, and Shane Stoney's lead was officially 1.3 seconds on the previous lap, but he wasn't actually quite as quick as Conor O'Brien. Toth-Jones does get past Charlie Digby, runs out wide though, and so Nicosia gets to the inside of the pair of them. It's all going wrong for Charlie Digby. He's now dropped down another 2 places potentially, although he's trying to fight back against Nicosia, a bit more paint traded along the international pit straight. Nicosia on the inside, oh, don't make contact here, this is one of the fastest corners on the track, and Digby, I think, will hang on by the skin of his teeth as they head into the braking zone at Village. Max Bird now also draws himself alongside into the braking zone. Digby right on the rear bumper looking for a gap at the inside of Nicosia, who's going to turn in. They're going to make contact, they do, and it's Digby that goes around. Nicosia out onto the runoff area, but Charlie Digby really, well, he went for the gap that was always going to close, and unfortunately the front to side contact, it was the car on the inside that was always going to go around. Another car out wide there as well, which is going to rejoin the track. 49 was that possibly, or 46, Brett Ward maybe, that had been off the road. Nicosia, having gained a place, now loses another one to Max Bird, and Sebastian Arenram is in there now as well, to 8th place as a result of the issues in front for Charlie Digby, who's dropped an awfully long way down the order as a result of that. So back out onto the pit straight, 15 minutes to go, 10 minutes down. Car number 2, Alex Toth-Jones, being warned for exceeding the track limits. At the front of the field, the lead gap goes out by another 2/10 though, so Stoney pulling away. That is the number 55 machine going slowly. That's Matt Rainbow with damaged front left suspension, or damaged steering maybe actually that looked like, and his race, you would imagine, will be done. That's a shame. He's waited around all day to get out there on track for the last race, and Matt started this race 23rd after a spin in race 1. Sadly, it looks like he's had similar dramas, although with more costly damage in race 2. So O'Brien second, Kellett third, and McKenna fourth. And are they going to be able to close in on the race leader here? Well, at the moment they're not, because they're running side by side down the hanger straight into the right-hander. And Stowe and Kellett tried to sell the dummy there, went from the outside to the inside line at the last second, but he was never really close enough to make that move stick. Got 11 laps in race 1. We're on lap 5 now, so we're approaching half race distance, you'd expect, in this 35-minute encounter. Sorry, 25 minutes encounter, excuse me. Back through the double apex right-hander at club corner, and it does look like Kellett is quicker than O'Brien here, and he senses that he's getting held up, and that if he could get through, maybe he'd be able to go after the race leader Shane Stoney, who's disappearing off up the road now to the tune of nearly 2 seconds. Here's a replay of what happened a bit further back though. This was Charlie Digby. Well, you can see what he was going to do. He set the move up, went to the inside line, but Nicosia turned in. Digby maybe washed out a bit wide. It was 50-50 move that really at best, and Digby unfortunately came off the worst. Number 31 Charlie Digby, to add insult to injury, is now being warned for exceeding the track limits. Well, yes, he did exceed track limits there up at the loop, but it certainly wasn't intentional. It certainly didn't gain any sort of an advantage. Back down into the left-hander at Brooklyn as they go. O'Brien in second place here, and James Kellett just can't find a way through. Oh, spinning further back, that is number 7, does that say? Is that Paul Oliphant maybe? I think it is, running within the G40 Cup element of the race. Incident involving Jerry Nicosia and Charlie Digby has been reviewed. No further action, so that's fair enough. So Charlie Digby went up the inside, made contact, but it was he who ended up getting spun around. So unfortunately for him, that means that he is, well, where did he round out from that? Digby, 12th place, actually not as far down the order as I thought. He was still 12th that time through, right in behind Carlito Morocco for the Fiesta and then Mini Racer. It was three-way fight for second. They dropped another half a second there to Shane Stoney that time around. So Shane is now 2 seconds clear of these three, who are covered by half a second between 3 of them. They have got Alex Toth-Jones doing his best to come back at them further back in 5th place, and then a big gap back to Nicosia, Arenram, Bird and Morgan Quinn, with Katie Milner now rounding out the top 10. So Katie Milner having a much better performance in this race. Back through Stowe, and James Kellett. He's tried everything here. He sort of had this all planned out, I think, didn't he? That he'd sort of follow Shane Stoney for a while, then find a way through, then try and build a gap up as he attempted to do in race 1. But, well, in this one, it's just not quite gone to plan. He ended up down as low as 4th place, 5th place, I think, even at one point. And he's now worked his way back to 3rd. Can he get past O'Brien? The other Grady, by the way, Conor Grady, who had that spin on the first lap, he's down in 22nd place after falling to the tail end of the field. Max Bird is being warned for exceeding track limits now as well, as Scott McKenna starts to join in the antics for this second place battle as well. He's been sort of just quietly following these two around for the time being. Now he wants to try and get involved, because he can see that Alex Toth-Jones in the number 2 car is getting ever closer behind him. So these 4 cars now busy dicing over second place. They will be further delaying each other, you would imagine. And yeah, Shane Stoney, I'd say that's even more than 2 seconds out. That's getting on for 3 seconds. I'd say that he's in front of the rest of the field now, which makes its way down towards Brooklands for the 6th time. We'll have about 10 minutes left at the end of this lap, and Kellett goes for it at the inside line. Oh, just about gets the car stopped. There's a bit of contact, but that was really, really good stuff there from James Kellett, and he works his way finally back into 2nd place. O'Brien now has to try and fend off Scott McKenna, who gets a much better exit out of Luffield, gets himself alongside. There's the obligatory bit of paint traded on the exit of the corner. And so now Scott McKenna, white, yellow and blue car on the inside line, with not his cross on his car, showing that he's a relative newcomer to racing. But Scott McKenna has been racing, he did Ginetta Juniors last year to some success, or just can't quite get that move made on O'Brien. O'Brien runs wide on the exit of Copse corner though, so can McKenna get back alongside into Maggins and Beckett's? Not on the right hand side, he can't. Then looks to the left hand side and then realises that actually maybe he'd be better served to just sit in line and follow through this next sequence of corners. Goes on the inside line into Chapel. There's contact, big contact between the 2 of them, and Conor O'Brien is off and into the gravel trap, and that was, well, we saw exactly the same thing in the British GT race earlier on with 2 Aston Martins, where there is a gap up the inside, but you do so little braking into that right-hander at Chapel, and you're not really watching the car behind you at that point, but you can see why he did it. Went up the inside, contact made the first time, and they might have got away with it there, but then as McKenna's car got sideways, it snapped back the other way and collected O'Brien. It's dislodged the bonnet from the 22 car, I noticed as well. That will matter little because he's going nowhere, being stuck in the gravel trap. So Alex Toth-Jones benefits greatly out of that and takes third place away, because McKenna, of course, has been delayed in all of that. It may possibly have deranged the steering on the number 27 car. So Alex Toth-Jones moves his way onto the podium, which is where he hasn't been for quite some time. McKenna will sit in the slipstream and try and come back at him, I'm sure, but he'll be just feeding the car out to make sure there's no real damage done. Alex Toth-Jones incidentally set the fastest lap last time around, 2:26.401, compares with Richard Evans' fastest lap of a 2:25.1 in race 1, so about half a second slower than Richard Evans went in the first race. Richard Evans, it would appear, has not started this race, unfortunately, after he had some contact, some fairly significant contact in race 1, which appears to have damaged the car beyond repair, at least for the time being, so he is not out there. Right, the lead gap only went out by a 10th last time around, once James Kellett got himself into second place. So can he now start building up? And a bit of a challenge here on Shane Stoney. There are only 8 minutes to go, but 4 laps, I reckon, we'll get in that time, roughly 3 or 4 laps, depending on the pace, as the leading cars now start to make their way through. Alex Toth-Jones, what sort of lap time can he do? What sort of lap time can James Kellett do? Well, personal best lap times for both of the top two, but 3/10 quicker was the race leader. So Shane Stoney actually extends the margin now to 2.6 seconds over Kellett. Toth-Jones third, McKenna fourth, Nicosia fifth, Max Bird sixth, Morgan Quinn seventh. That's the battle we're watching here, with Quinn up the inside. He's got a slightly loose or slightly deranged passenger side wing mirror, but he won't be bothering about that too much, as the race leader heads down through the Baggots, Beckett's and Chapel sequence of corners. Did the outright fastest middle sector on the previous lap, did Shane Stoney, and a personal best in the first sector. So he has really been picking up the pace as of late. In the G40s, by the way, Tom Golding still leads the way from Rob Keogh by 10.9 seconds, so there's not much of a challenge there. Looks like Tom Golding's on for a double race victory in the G40 Cup. Here comes the fight though for sixth position, with Morgan Quinn now ahead of Max Bird, but Max will try and get back through at the first possible opportunity. I'm sure he's got Sebastian Arenram not far back though in 8th. Katie Milner is now 9th as well, with Charlie Digby 10th on his recovery drive. So we'll check in on that group. In fact, here they can get Katie Milner, the white car with the red front in the background, as Arenram gets past Max Bird there. So Bird just ran a bit wide, I think, through Vale, and Sebastian Arenram was able to slot his very fetching number 83 car the inside and pick us one of the place. So Max Bird has lost 2 positions on this lap, from 6th to 8th. Arenram goes from 8th to 7th, and now we see what Katie Milner can do about this group, because she looks to be catching them. And Katie Milner drops her way down into the village right-hander and the loop left-hander. Not really close enough to attack for the time being, but she'll try and get a good exit from here and maybe get a slipstream down the back straight. Loose bodywork on the front of the 23 car. That's Josh Hislop, and that is something we're fairly accustomed to seeing where Ginetta G40s are concerned, because they're designed actually in that way that the bonnets come loose if there's any sort of front-end contact. It's supposed to dissuade the drivers from making too much front-to-rear contact, but of course sometimes it can't be helped, and then you end up having to pit to get the bonnet refastened. But the good news is that the bonnets open from the back forward, so the air doesn't get underneath them and pick them up all together, but it will certainly catch the attention of the drivers. There's car number 88, that's Matt Palmer. He is dicing away with the number 29 machine, which is actually Marshall in behind, the green and black car, fighting over 12th position, so they're just outside the top 10. The head of the field, meanwhile, James Kellett, well and truly responding to Shane Stoney's good lap that he set a lap ago. That was a new fastest lap of the race for the man in second place, 2:26.188. Yellow flags out down at Baggots and Beckett, so is somebody else going to reach this part of the circuit, or is this just the recovery of the car that we saw off down there before? Yes, that is what it is. So they're just moving Charlie Digby's, not Charlie Digby's, car out of the way, the car that went off down there a few laps ago out of the way, and tangled with Scott McKenna, and that car should be out of the gravel track by the time they next get round to that part of the circuit. So number 12 is Morgan Quinn, and he is now into 6th position. Sebastian Arenram 7th, Max Bird 8th, and Katie Milner 9th. Was quicker than the lot of them on the previous lap. By quite some extent, actually. She had a personal best lap. It was a second quicker than Max Bird in front. They fan out 3 wide into Vale, and it all comes to nothing in the end because they still have to run through the corner single file. Bird seems to have got the better exit from the corner though, gets to the inside of Arenram into the second part of the club, and does indeed go back through. So Bird back into 7th place now. Katie Milner looming ever larger in their mirrors. Down into Abbey Corner they go, and the Bluebird Developments sponsored machine of Max Bird now tries to get another place back and undo the damage done, but happened a few laps ago when he started slipping down the order. Goes to the outside of Morgan Quinn through the right-hander into the loop. The inside is a possibility, but Morgan Quinn had that covered, defended down the inside line, and manages to hold on to the position. So this little quartet of cars fighting over 6th, 7th, 8th and 9th positions makes its way back out onto the Wellington Straight. Nothing to choose between them at all. We're about to go on to the 10th lap of the race, so I reckon 2 more laps to go. Arenram up the inside of Bird there as he goes into Brooklyn, goes through, and Katie Milner there tried to follow him through, but just couldn't quite prise open the gap. So Arenram now goes up ahead of Quinn, so that's 6th for Bird, 7th for Arenram, 6th for Morgan Quinn, 7th for Arenram, and 8th for Max Bird, even get my words out. Milner, and then Charlie Digby closing in on the lot of them. Actually, he's the white car behind. Car number 5 is Guy Redwood, one of the stragglers in the G40 Cup, who stays well out of the way though. Good stuff there as he goes through Copse Corner. The lead gap, by the way, came down again because it was another fastest lap for James Kellett. So 1.8 is the margin. He took 3/10 out of Stoney that time. Now with 2 laps to go, that's not going to be enough for him to challenge for the lead, but if he can do what he did the lap before and take a bigger chunk out this time, get it down to about a second or so, then it's game on for the race lead. Game on between Katie Milner and Charlie Digby there as well for 9th place. There is Alex Toth-Jones up the inside of Scott McKenna, or actually trying to defend from Scott McKenna here. And he's been given a 5-second time penalty, has Alex Toth-Jones, the man in 3rd place. 5-second time penalty for exceeding the track limits. So although he's defending this 3rd place for all he's worth on the track, it will matter little because he's going to drop down behind McKenna. He'll also drop behind Nicosia, I'd imagine, but he might just be able to slot in line in 5th place. So Alex was looking good for that first podium of the season. It's not quite going to work out. It's all changed further back though. Look at this. Oh, Katie Milner gets squeezed in between Charlie Digby and Sebastian Arenram, who then almost make contact themselves as they go into club. Milner had briefly got herself ahead of Sebastian Arenram, but then he came steaming up the inside into Vale, and Charlie Digby came steaming around the outside, and they've now both been caught by that's the 46 car, isn't it, that's closed on the pair of them, which is Brett Ward, who started 19th, so he's done a good job to get himself into 11th place, and he will be looking to try and improve upon that ever further through the remaining lap and a bit that we have left in this race. Milner defending from Digby there through Village. Digby therefore goes to the outside line, but fair play to Katie, she's not letting him through without a fight. Digby tries to get the over-under on the exit of the loop, can't do it, so it stays as it was. Towards the front of the field, there's Jerry Nicosia, and he is closing in on Scott McKenna in what is essentially the battle for 3rd place, although Toth-Jones is in front of them when the time penalty is applied. He'll drop down behind these two, and that will probably mean that he drops down behind them as well, because he runs wide out onto the grass and runs out through the gravel trap and hands the place straight back over. So there we go, he's no longer 3rd on the road, he's 4th on the road and 5th on corrected times. Excuse me. Right, I'm back with you now. So Scott McKenna up into 3rd position, and on the road that is. And now Jerry Koji go through, he'll have to get past Toth-Jones fairly quickly though if he's going to have any chance of going after the race leader. Lead gap came down again last time, by the way. It's now 1.3 seconds, so another 3/10 trimmed out of the race leader, but there you can see the gap is still fairly substantial between Shane Stoney and James Kellett. McKenna, the white, blue and green car is white, blue and yellow car, sorry, is 3rd. Just ducking at the inside of Mike West in the number 42 G40 Cup car. Then Tom Jones, well, he's still fighting on. He may as well, I suppose, because he's out there on track. Cars 2 and 31 now being given 5-second time penalties. So that's Charlie Digby, who's been given a 5-second penalty as well, as Nicosia goes up the inside of Tom Jones and gets himself ahead into 4th position. But Charlie Digby then, from bad to worse for him, I'm afraid. He's had a spin. He's demoted down now to the back end of the top 10, and with a time penalty added on, he'll lose a few more places, because there's, in fact, I think he'll only lose one more place to Brett Ward, who's right behind him. 37, that's Gary Wager, getting out of the way nicely of the GT5 Challenge cars as they make their way up towards the end of the final lap of racing here today at Silverstone. They've put on a really good show over the course of their 2 races, and it looks as though Shane Stoney is going to reverse the order from race 1, because James Kellett won from him in the first race. This time around, Stoney, well, he made good his escape whilst they were all fighting hard behind, and here he comes hard on the brakes now, down in towards Brooklyn. Shane Stoney looks as though he is going to come home a winner in the 10th round of the Pro Time Motorsport Ginetta GT5 Challenge. Kellett will take the fastest lap, so it's not quite maximum points haul for Stoney, but it's not been a bad result for him at all. Out to the final corner he comes, towards the checkered flag, and Shane Stoney is victorious in round number 10 of the Pro Time Motorsport Ginetta GT5 Challenge. Victory goes the way of Shane for the 2nd time this year. 2nd place goes the way of James Kellett. 3rd place will be Scott McKenna, I believe, ahead of Jerry Nicosia 4th. And can Alex Todd Jones hang on to 5th on corrected times? I think he probably will. We've had some changing going on behind. Charlie Digby has gained some places on the road, but again, he's got a 5-second penalty too. So Morgan Quinn comes home 6th. Katie Milner comes home 7th. So again, a really good drive from her, from 15th on the grid. Max Bird 8th, Sebastian Arenram 9th, and Brett Ward 10th. So Charlie Digby does indeed drop down to 11th on corrected times. So a good race there for Shane Stoney. Wins by 1.6 seconds in the end, after I think Kellett got a mixture of getting held up in traffic on the final lap and maybe just backing off the pace slightly as he tried to nurse the car home. But Shane Stoney was able to take it reasonably easy in that one. Certainly it was a much calmer affair for him than it was in the first race, when we had that whole gaggle of cars fighting early on, and then he and Kellett escaped up the road, swapped the lead between themselves on a couple of occasions. But the Quattro Motorsport driver it is who comes home victorious for the 2nd time this year. That will put him back into championship contention as well, he would hope, having come into this weekend not a million miles off the top as far as the points were concerned, but it had been a bit of an inconsistent season really. And so yes, arriving here he was on 169 points. He retook that 2nd place in the championship away from Jerry Nicosia in race 1, and now he takes a few points back away from championship leader Kellett in race 2. So yeah, James Kellett won't be too dissatisfied with 2nd place, but it just basically undoes what he did in race 1. We've got a few drivers unfortunately judging their way through various gravel traps here at Silverstone, and I think we did lose a couple of them on the last lap. Adrian Campbell-Smith, Sami Saralainen seem to have disappeared on the last lap as well. But here's confirmation of the result then. Shane Stoney wins it from James Kellett in 2nd. Scott McKenna is 3rd, with Jerry Nicosia coming home 4th. He should still be 3rd in the championship. Alex Toth Jones is 5th, ahead of Morgan Quinn 6th, then Katie Milner 7th, Max Bird 8th, Sebastian Arenram 9th, and Brett Ward, good to see the W2R Motorsport driver inside the top 10. So they are your top 10 finishers from the GT5 Challenge. The G40 Cup was won, by the way, by Tom Sibley by 4.8 seconds in the end. Over 2nd place, 138, which was Jimmy Thompson. So it all changed in the G40 Cup towards the end as well. And 3rd place within that class. So Golding from Oliphant from Keogh, I beg your pardon. So Golding won it, Oliphant 2nd, and Keogh 3rd. Now I beg your pardon, that was the same order as it was in race 1. Charlie Digby there finishes 11th place overall, ahead of Matt Maxted, Ashley Marshall, Connor Grady, who recovered well from that first lap spin, and Matt Palmer in 15th. Nick Halstead, James Townsend, Will Dydle, Phil McGarty and Dale Albert round out the top 20. So the cars make their way back down in towards the pit lane. There will be a podium celebration to follow. And Shane Stoney, who won't be too dissatisfied, I don't think, with his day's work, actually. He'll have felt that maybe he should have won the first race. Remember, we had that contact with the back marker on the last lap, whilst he was being challenged for the lead anyway by Kellett. And so, it's arguable that maybe had he not had that contact, he might have been able to stay in front, but really it doesn't matter. It's what happened. Kellett won the race, but this time around Stoney gets out of the car and receives the winner's hug from the team and friends and family. There is Kellett climbing out of his car as well, takes the gloves off, and third place went the way of Scott McKenna, who just about finds room to park down below the podium. So the drivers will take their time, I'm sure, in getting up to the podium steps and onto the podium itself. But the end of a long, hard weekend for the GT5 Challenge drivers. They qualified yesterday, had 2 races today, both of which provided us with lots of things to talk about. So here are some of the highlights from that second race of the day then. It was Shane Stoney from the inside of row 1 who was this time able to hold on to the race lead as he made his way down into Cops Corner. The G40 Cup contingent got underway a little bit further back. It was another dominant victory in that category for Tom Golding, as he won the race by 19 seconds in the end. Conor Grady lost it going through Chapel for the first time, spun right the way down to the back of the field, but was able to work his way back through to 14th position, so not a bad job done in the end. It was all going on for second place though, as Charlie Digby, James Kellett, Conor O'Brien, they were all dicing together, but their dicing allowed the leader to pull away. A bit of biffing and barging between O'Brien and Charlie Digby, and that wouldn't be the last contact for O'Brien in this race. They ran side by side for much of the duration in the early laps, music to the ears of Shane Stoney, the race leader, whilst Charlie Digby had a spin, followed by a 5-second time penalty for exceeding the track limits. It wasn't a great race for him. Further up the order though, James Kellett finally got himself back to the head of the chasing pack, whilst Scott McKenna and Conor O'Brien ran side by side down the pit straight. They were side by side again through Chapel a half a lap later, but contact was made and O'Brien was sent spinning into retirement, and that was a real shame. It would have been a really enjoyable battle. There were moments up and down the order though as cars started to find the limit of adhesion, including Alex Toth-Jones, who ran wide into the gravel trap, having already been given a 5-second time penalty for exceeding the track limits. He went and did it again and lost further positions. Shane Stoney though came home a winner for the second time in 2018 to inch his way closer towards championship leader James Kellett. James did his championship hopes the world of good though with second place. So the drivers heading up onto the podium then, and Shane Stoney, our race winner, our final race winner of the day here from Silverstone, and he's overjoyed with that. There is our third place finisher Scott McKenna, second place for James Kellett, and the race win and the winner's trophy for Shane Stoney. And I reckon they might just enjoy themselves with 3 bottles of bubbly that they've got on the podium this afternoon. They're all very hot, very worn out after that race. And Shane Stoney there with the big grin on his face, but it's going to take some doing to beat James Kellett this year, I think. So they punch their way themselves together at the top of the podium. Are we going to spray the champagne? No, we're going to go in for interviews with the circuit commentator, I think. So that just about wraps things up for us here at Silverstone. Thank you very much, everyone who's joined us over the course of the day. Hopefully you've all stuck around right from the start of the day and enjoyed some cracking racing from all of the championships we brought you here this weekend at Silverstone. It's been an absolute joy to talk you through it all. Thanks very much as well to everyone at Silverstone. The marshals have done a brilliant job all weekend long of keeping the on-track action going. Thanks to Ollie Milroy for helping me talk through the British GT Championship race. Hopefully we'll have him back again at some point soon. But for now, from everyone here at Silverstone, thank you very much for watching. It is goodbye.